Just say, cut that down. How's everybody doing today? Another Monday. Another fun day, right? Nah. Give a couple minutes, see if anybody else gonna come in. If not, as always, we just start the party with whoever we have here today. I'm hoping y'all having a wonderful Monday, the day after Mother's Day. I hope y'all had, if you any mothers just watching this, I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day. I hope you were spoiled, and your husbands or your boyfriend or your significant other or that guy that you know that you stand with, whatever, whoever's you taking kids you're taking care of, I hope they spoiled you and showed you the proper appreciation for yesterday. I really love Mother's Day because mothers are so important. How you doing, Sister Rhonda? I didn't know if your family was still here, if you're going to be able to make it tonight. I'm glad you're here. Hope you're having a good Monday. So, I'll give about one more minute while I get my chargers and stuff hooked up. And then I'm going to jump into this. Listen. I'm glad you're here, ma'am. I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know if you're going to make it tonight because I know you have family up, so. Okay. Hey, Mom. Tell Mom I said hello. All right. I think I got everything about hooked up. Now I just got to refocus. There we go. Did it? All right. So today, I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's 3 minutes after. And anybody that's going to come in, they can come in a little later and join the party a little later. But today, I know when I talked to you guys last month, first of all, how you doing? Brother John, on behalf of River Lake Baptist Church, on behalf of the Lost Sheep Ministry, coming to you guys today to bring you a message. And I know last week we did the blessings of obedience, and today we were supposed to do the curses of disobedience. Was my original intention, but the Spirit, when the Spirit talks to you, you got to make that move. And the Spirit just hit my heart. And with it being Mother's Day yesterday, and like I told y'all in the beginning, I really love Mother's Day. I love celebrating my mom, even though our relationship wasn't always close. I still love celebrate my mom and just mothers in general, because that is a job that, yeah, it gets celebrated, but I still think a lot of guys don't really have a concept of what it takes to be a mother. And I say that because I was once a guy like that, and I understand it now. And just real quick story, kind of leading to what we're talking about today. There was a point where, because I've always been the worker, and me and my wife relationship, that's why it works so good, because she's always just been a mother and all about taking care of the kids, and I've always been a worker. And I used to have this attitude back in the day that, because I'm the one going out doing all the work and I'm making all the money and I'm paying all the bills, that that my role was more important than her role, kind of thing. I used to have that attitude. I'm ashamed of it now, but I did. I had the attitude, and I think a lot of guys have that attitude these days. And not realizing that when a woman chooses to give up her body, first of all, to have your child, because it affect the body. Sometimes they can bounce back from it, sometimes they don't, So when a woman chooses to give up her body and then give up her life to take care of your kids and to be there for your kids, man, that's a monumental thing to do. And I didn't really understand that concept because I was just still young and ignorant, just really getting into serving the Lord, and I didn't understand that. And what happened was the Lord had to show me that personally. He had to show me that. So what happened was there was a brief period. This was only a small period. I think it was just maybe 2 months, if that. But there was a small period right after I started serving the Lord where the roles were reversed, and I was the stay-at-home parent, and my wife was the one that was working because she was doing like CNN work, and we've always said in our family, whoever can make the most money would be the one that worked, and it's always been me. But we had this one brief point for like a month or so where it was her, so she was the one going out working, I was staying at home. And after 2 months, I was like, please, Lord, let me get another job, get out of this place. Because, man, it was driving me crazy. I don't understand how y'all do that. Just the attention that you have to pay to the kids and the things that it take. I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, I was wore out. I was more wore out from, you know what I'm saying, just, I can go and work a 20-hour day, and I wouldn't be as wore out as I was from just working, just being with the kids for a few hours, man. I mean, it wore me out. And I really then truly understood, what it takes to be a mother, how much work it really goes into it. We got this idea that, they just sit at home playing in their pajamas, playing arts and crafts all day. But man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of, if you're a real mother, that is, it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of attention to detail that goes into doing that work. And I really had appreciated it. And after that happened, like I said, it was on for like 2 months. And after that happened, I never again said, "Oh, you don't really do nothing for this family," because I understood she did way more than I really understood, and God had to put me in that position. So that's what I want to do. So that being said, with Mother's Day being yesterday, I am going to get back onto obedience and disobedience. I promise y'all I'm going to finish that up today, but I'm going to do it next Monday instead. And I want to do this Mother's Day version, edition of the Lost Sheep tonight. And I want to just give my hats out to mothers, because like I said, it's very, very important, even though we do celebrate it. And they do celebrate it more than Father's Day, but still, I still don't think that's enough, man. I think it's very, we really don't, as men, especially men these days, we really don't appreciate what our women do for us. So that's why I want to do this, the lesson today on motherhood. So what I'm going to do is this story, and I don't know why, and like I said, it had to be the Spirit, because this just popped in my head. It's this amazing story that popped up in my head. We're going to be in 2 Samuel chapter 21. And there's the amazing story of this mother. She does an amazing feat. And there's a lot of amazing mothers in the Bible. There's a lot of amazing things that women do in the Bible. But this one here was just, I don't know, for some reason, to me, it's just amazing. I don't even see a man doing what she did, but she did it because of her love for her children. I don't want to give it away, the exciting conclusion away, but it was just a wonderful feat. So if you got your Bibles, go over to 2 Samuel chapter 21. Like I said, next week I am going to finish up the lesson on disobedience, of obedience, like I promised. I will get back on you disobedient heathens next week, but I just really want to do that. Spirit spoke to my heart, and it's a short chapter. Matter of fact, I'm not going to even do the whole chapter 21. I'm just going to do the section dealing with this mother and her children, and so it's going to be chapter 21 verses 1 through 14. So it's a real short, just short couple of paragraphs, but it got a lot of good information in it. So I only got like 12 points. See, that's right. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have better ways of sticking to schedule, and they don't respect it. Anyway, I know, and I like I said, man, I'm glad God showed me that. I'm with you on that, JC. I'm glad God showed me that, man, because it was a lot of work. So that's why I want to do this Mother's Day edition, because like I said, I do have a thorough appreciation for women and what they do for us, especially in the motherhood thing, because I tried it. I had my hand in it, and I just wasn't good at it. I can go, like I said, I can go and work all day, man, no problem. You can give me a 20-hour day. It ain't no sweat on my brow, but man, you leave me at the house with the kid for 2-3 hours, and I'm losing my mind. You know what I'm saying? But my wife can do it, and it don't bother her at all, and it's because she's built for it. So that's what I want to focus on today. And if you saw my Facebook post, you will see the title of today's lesson was called "A Father's Sin and a Mother's Love." And like I said, we're going to go over these 14 verses in chapter 21, and it's mostly dealing with the sin of the father is what brought this whole situation about. This father committed a sin, and his kids going to have to suffer for that sin. So it's mostly focused on that. But what I want you to take out of it, I want you to see just the love that this mother had for her kids. So I'm going to start it off. This is just my intro, of course. I'm going to start off in the book of Genesis. There's a statement that's made in the book of Genesis chapter 3, verses 16. And I'm going to read. I know I always do my lessons out the New Living Translation, but I'm going to do this verse out the King James Version because I just like the wording on it a little bit better. I don't like the way they translated it in the New Living Translation. So if you look in Genesis 3:16, it says, in the King James versions, it said, and this is, of course, this is the situation after Eve had eaten the fruit, and a lot of people like to call it apple. It wasn't an apple, and never say which fruit it was, but she did take of the forbidden fruit and gave some to Adam, and they ate it, and then, the Lord, of course, called them out about it, and this is when the Lord was giving out punishment. And he said in verse 3, Genesis chapter 3, verse 16, he said, unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. And the reason why I wanted to go there, because I want y'all to understand something. What the Lord, a lot of people, when they hear that, they think of the pain of having a child, because I've never had a child before, but I you know what I'm saying, talk to women that have had children, because my wife has had 5 for me, but the pain that they go through, a lot of people immediately associate that when it says pain of the sorrow, bringing forth the child in sorrow, they think of the pain, and that's not what the Lord was talking about when he gave her that punishment. That's not the punishment. The punishment that the Lord gave her was actually, he cursed her with unconditional love. And you really got to understand what the Lord is saying here. You really got to understand the role of the woman to really get that. The punishment wasn't the pain. Because you think about it today, if that was the case, then women not even suffering that curse anymore. Because now you go to the hospital and they give you so many drugs that I remember when my wife, she had to get an epidural because I think two of my kids were natural and other one was C-sections. And I remember when she had my oldest daughter, like she was so high on the whatever they gave her, the epidural or whatever they gave her, that she didn't even realize that she had a baby. It was so hilarious. I'll never forget it. We tell this story all the time. But you know what I'm saying? You know how after they had a baby and they show you the baby, like, hey, who goes the beautiful baby? And I never remember, I forget, I had the baby say, baby, look what look what you brought forward. And she said, ooh, who's that? I'm like, this is your baby. I ain't had no baby. I mean, she was that gone that she didn't even realize that she had just had a baby. That's how she was on whatever it was they had gave her. So, if you think about that aspect of it, they're not even suffering through the pain anymore of the childbirth. But like I said, what he was talking about when he said they will bring forth, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. Again, what he did, he cursed them with a curse. I wasn't gonna say curse, but he basically cursed them with unconditional love. Because y'all look at the way a mother loves their children, man, it's unconditional. I mean, I don't care how bad that child is. I don't care how ugly that child is. I don't care if that child's special needs. That mother loves that child. And that's all goes back to that verse right there in Genesis, because the Lord said, bring forth in sorrow. So, if the child grows up and be a good person, then, okay, yes, of course, there's joy there. But if the child grows up and be a bad person, always having trouble, in and out of trouble, then guess what? The mother is going to suffer that, because dads, we had the ability, that ain't my son, soon, son or daughter, that ain't my child. We can disassociate ourselves quickly. I mean, that's why you see so many single mothers in the world today, because the guys, they get the girl pregnant and then, I'm out of here, kind of thing, or that ain't my child, or as soon as things start going wrong with the mom, they just abandon the whole family kind of thing. See, women can't do that. Now, there are some single parents, men out there, but the number compared to the amount of single women is, it's not even close. Why? Because that woman, they love that child. They have that bond and that connection with that child. Matter of fact, I'm going to go as far as saying, this is my theory. This is not Bible. There's nowhere in the Bible where it says this. But I honestly believe that a woman's love for a child is about as close as we can get. When we see the way a woman loves a child, that unconditional love she has for a child, I think that's about as close as we can get to seeing how God loves us. The love, I really believe that's how the closer we get to seeing the love of God. Man, and I think honestly, and I'm saying that, but I don't even think it's truly close, but I think that's about as close as we can see. I'm not saying that the way a woman loves a child is compared to the love of God, because the way God loves us is a million times more. But I think if we want to look at some example of what the love of God truly is, you got to look at the way a woman loves a child. Because I said, a mama, they love their children no matter what. So have y'all ever been seen somebody have a baby and they post some pictures, or they bring the baby over, like, oh, look at my beautiful son. It seems like, oh, like, lady, that baby's ugly. Like, I almost punched him in his face. I didn't know what that was. I thought that was a gremlin. I'm going to punch that baby in the face. But that mama, she like, oh, this is my beautiful baby. And I'm like, well, I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder, because that baby's ugly. But to that mama, that's the most beautiful thing, the most precious thing in this world. You know what I'm saying? It's the same with a special needs child. A lot of people, they have special needs child, and again, dad, he'll be gone. That ain't my baby. You know what I'm saying? But a mama, she loved that child like that baby is perfect. Like when women have them babies, man, them babies are perfect. And I don't care what kind of flaws. They don't even see the flaws. You know what I'm saying? That's why you get some of these ugly dudes grow up thinking they beautiful because their mom been telling them they beautiful this whole time. In the world, be like, nah, bro, your mama lied to you. I've had people tell me this several times. My mama lied to me. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. I got over it real quickly. But that's what I want y'all to understand. That's why I say I wanted to do this lesson on the mother's love. And we're going to kind of see that tonight, how deep that mother's love is. And again, because they were built that way. When God cursed them over there in Genesis, they were built that way to have that love for that infant, that child, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? I've told y'all before, I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I always use my family as example. You know, we've had problems with our kids over the years, especially my oldest son. He's had some issues and problems. And you know what I'm saying? Me, I just know I'm done with him. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you can get out of here and I'm done with you. But not his mom. She always going to try to find some way to sneak him some, or sneak some way to take care of him, or some, even when we tell her not to, when I tell her not to. You know, like, you're not helping the boy by sneaking him stuff and helping him out kind of thing, but she'll still do it because she loves. She can't distance herself. Any real mother, and let me rephrase, any real mother cannot distance themselves from the love that they have for their child, because God put that curse on them in Genesis, that they will have that. What up, Daniel? How you doing, brother? I'm glad you're here today. But God put that curse on them, and see, that's why, you know, a lot of people like to get on Christians and like, oh well, they always talk about abortion. You know, they hate it and this and that. And you got to understand the reason why abortion is such a big issue for us, because it shows us how far away from God we've gotten. You know what I'm saying? For us, for a woman to be able to even from, because to me, I believe, of course, a child is alive at conception. The moment she conceived that child, that's a human child in her stomach. That's a live person in her stomach. So for a woman to be able to say, oh, no, go 3-4 weeks down the road, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it, and it not bother them, that shows how disconnected we are from God. That shows we've gotten so far away from God that the curse that he put on her, on the woman to have that natural love for that baby, it don't even faze them anymore. I mean, you got to think about it. There's an average of 3,000 abortions a day. There's an average of 3,000 kids being killed by their mothers a day. You know, my pastor say this all the time. It's so true. In today's time, the most dangerous place for a child to be is in his mother's womb. You don't even know. When a woman get pregnant these days, man, a child have really a 50-50 chance of even making it. And it ain't got nothing to do with pregnancy complications and things like that. It's a matter of, is the mom going to keep it or not? And that's pretty sad. And that's how far we've come. That's how far we've gotten away from God. And that's the fact that there's 3,000 abortions performed on average a day shows us how far we have gotten from God. Because a woman's natural affection is toward that child. A woman's natural affection is always toward protecting that child. You go run up on a bear in the woods and her cubs are somewhere near and see what's going to happen to you. You know what I'm saying? Go run up on a mama lion or some animal in the wild, in the woods. Even I've seen birds, you know what I'm saying, protecting their nest from snakes. No, huge snakes. They don't bag away from that snake. You know, the snake is about 3-4 times bigger than them. They up there, I've seen this before my own eyes, pecking away at that snake because they know that snake is trying to go and eat them eggs. That's that's naturally what mothers do. And again, that's because of the curse that was put on them by God over in Genesis because of the fruit. So for a woman to be able to completely disassociate herself with that child and to completely be able to discard that child and it not bother them, that shows you that's a symptom of our lack of godliness that we have in our society today. But that's what I want to focus on today, the love of a mother, man. The love of a mother, like I said, I believe that's the closest thing we get to seeing as far as the love of God is the way a mother loves her child. And we're going to see that tonight. Like I said, it's a small chapter. I only got 12 points. Now, that don't mean it's going to be a quick lesson. I want it to be. I hope it will be. I hope it'll be a quick, enjoyable lesson. Just get kind of paying homage to the mothers of the world. But y'all know once that spirit get to going in me, whatever happens comes out, it's going to come out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to rush it at all. But I do want y'all to see what I see here. And of course, the whole chapter doesn't deal with the mother's love. And so I saw when I was going through, it's about 12 different aspects of biblical principles that I see that we can discuss as we go through the chapter to get to my main point of the mother's love. So I hope y'all will stay and enjoy it. But again, I hope you mothers is watching will enjoy this and understand my appreciation for you and the things you do for us in this world by bringing forth children. Because with this society today, man, they teach them don't have no children, don't be stuck under no man. You don't need no man. Don't have no children. Go get you a career. You know, and that's they really push that with the whole feminist movement thing, and y'all might think when I'm going through this lesson that I'm supporting the feminist, and I don't support the feminist movement at all, even though I do have daughters, and the reason being is because they teach their whole their propaganda is, be independent, don't be a mother. That slows you down, that holds you back. You know what I'm saying? We're smarter than men, and we can do the same thing men do, but better. You know what I'm saying? And I don't agree with that at all. You know what I'm saying? We don't need men. I don't agree with that at all. Only a fool will say something like that. Now, in my defense, I do believe wholeheartedly that we as men have really dropped the ball on showing women our appreciation. That's why I want to do this lesson now. I would agree wholeheartedly on that. We have really dropped the ball on showing women our appreciation for all they do for us, the childbirth and things of that nature, all the things that women do. I do believe that we've dropped the ball on that. And I do believe that we got to get back to showing our women how much we appreciate them before we do really lose them to this feminism and this homosexuality. And if that happens, then what's going to happen to the human race as a whole? You know what I'm saying? And I believe a lot of that is on men. That is on us. You know what I'm saying? Because we've so long, like I said, I did it myself. We so long just made women look the task that they do, made it seem like it's nothing, it's not important, it's not significant at all, and it's very important. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, the reason why I don't support the feminist movement, because like I said, they try to make it seem like we don't need men, and we do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not behind the masculine movement either, because they make it feel like we don't need women when we do. When clearly we need each other. We have to have each other. We are made for each other, and we need each other. One is not better than the other. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Yes, women can do the things that men can do, and they might be able to do it better. But men are built to do certain things, and women are built to do certain things. A man can nurture a child. A man can raise up a child. A man can nurture a child, be just fine. But a woman was made to do that. And that's what you got to understand. A woman can go out and work hard and pull cars apart and do all these jobs that usually men have. Yes, they can do that and be great at it. But men were made to do those things. That's why we built, our physiques are built different. The way we think are built different. You know what I'm saying? Women think with their emotions, men think with logic. Why? Because they have to be emotionally attached to be able to do the job that they have to do. They have to be emotionally attached to be that stable voice of reason for their family. They have to be emotionally attached to be that stable voice of reason for their kids. Because dad, like I said, dad just be like, man, do away with it. I'm moving in this direction. But mom like, no, I can't let it go that easy. I'm not gonna give up on my baby that easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to keep on working with them. You see what I'm saying? And we were built that. We were built different. And that's why we need each other. We need that womanly, emotionally love. And we need the man, the masculinity of the man to do the hard work and to bring home the bacon. We need each other. Not one is not better than the other. We're just different. And they are exploiting our differences and using our differences against us, and the others, and instead of helping us see the importance of those differences and helping us to appreciate each other because of those differences, because we were made different for a reason, because we have different tasks. So, but tonight, like I said, we're going to see, and we also almost kind of see a comparison, because we're going to see the sins of a father and how the sins of his father is going to affect his family, but we also going to see how the love of his mother is going to have an effect on his family as well, and it's actually going to overpower almost the sins that this father committed. So that was my intro. I'm going to go ahead and get into the pray, and then I'm jumping to the lesson. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us, Lord. Thank you so much for letting us have a good, safe day and giving us this opportunity now to come and jump into your word and learn this important lesson that I think we all need about the love and appreciation that we should have for mothers and what they do for us, Lord, and how they love and all that they give and their complete commitment to their children is what keeps this world going, Lord. I thank you so much for all the mothers of the world, all the real mothers. There's some out there I don't think we can put that title on, but the real mothers, the ones that truly make that sacrifice, the one that truly commit their whole heart to serving supporting their husband, and more importantly, taking care of those children, Lord. I thank you for them, Lord. I thank you for their willingness to keep going forward and doing it, even though they may be underappreciated at times or even put down at times by the men that's supposed to be loving them, Lord. They still go forth doing it, Lord, and it's such a wonderful thing, and it's all because of your wisdom and your greatness, Lord, and you made them that way, and they have to be that way for us to survive. So I just thank you so much for letting your spirit put this lesson on my heart tonight, and I pray you be with me as I go through this lesson. Let me reveal these truths in this short little chapter, in this short little lesson about the love of mothers, but also the sins of a father, Lord. And I pray you send your spirit down upon the heart of anybody that's watching this lesson tonight, whether they're watching it live or they're going to watch it later, and let a seed be planted in their heart. If they're one of those men out there that are putting women down and not truly appreciate them. Help them see them the ignorance in what they're doing, the foolishness in what they're doing, and help them change their heart. And if any mothers out there that's making that full commitment and they just feel like they're beaten down and they're burdened and they don't know what to do, I pray that this is giving them a spark to keep going and help them see how important it is the sacrifices they're making and how important it is to keep this world spinning around, Lord. And we just thank you so much for this word tonight. Thank you so much for your blessing and your guidance. Thank you for this ministry and everyone that's joining us. And I pray you be with us so we can have a wonderful evening, honor and glorifying your holy name, studying your word. We love you and thank you for everything. And I say this prayer in your wonderful son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So again, the love of mother, and like I said, this is amazing. If you familiar with the Bible, you already know how toward the end of the story. But it's just, I just think, like I said, there's a lot of wonderful mothers in the Bible. There's a lot of women that did some great things. But I just think this one right here was just amazing. And I guess it's because of me, because I'm a country boy and I'm out here in this country and I don't like dealing with critters all that much. And so to see this woman do what she did, man, my hats are off to her, but also my hats are off to all mothers. So again, if you got your Bibles and you follow along, we're going to be in 2 Samuel chapter 21. Now, I'm going to have to give y'all a little history lesson behind these, but I'm going to go ahead and jump into the first point, and we're going to come to a point where I'm going to explain kind of what's going on. So again, and I always like to announce, I'm reading out a New Living Translation because of the Lost Sheep Ministry. It's for people that don't have that close relationship with God yet, or have been spending their time in the Bible to where they understand that truly what's going on. So I always read out the New Living Translation because it puts in regular English to make sure you get, I want you to get the full Monty of what's being said. And of course, if there's some in the King James Version, which I saw me do earlier, that I think is better, I read the King James Version. But for the most part, I always kind of bring my lessons out the New Living Translation. But I am a King James believer, wholehearted King James believer. That's what I read when I do my own studying and putting the lessons together. But I do have the New Living Translation specifically for this ministry. So again, we go over to 2 Samuel chapter 21. We see in our first line, we see our first point. So it said, there was a famine during David's reign that lasted for 3 years. So David asked the Lord about it. So the first verse, or like I said, this is going to be, it's not all focused on the mother. There's other biblical concepts that we're going to go over here. And the first one we see here is this. We see, number one is this. When you feel your blessings are running dry, go to the source of all the blessings. When you feel your blessings are running dry, go to the source of all blessings. And that's what David did. So we see here, we know David was he said he was a king after his own heart. David was one of the greatest kings of all time in Israel. He's the one that really brought the nation together. He was like the standard for worshiping the Lord. Because if you look through all the other kings, that even the great ones that came up, they always, when they did right, they always said, the Bible always said, the word always said, his heart was just as his father David's was. So David was almost like the standard of what it really meant to truly love the Lord and to live by the Lord. So when things were going right, so he in a situation where there's a famine now. So he's understanding. In other words, and of course, a famine was to mean there was no rain. Everything was drying up. The crops was failing and things of that nature. And he understood immediately, because there was a famine there, that something was wrong. Something was out of whack. Something had been done that God wasn't happy for, wasn't happy with. So the first thing he did, he went to the source. Like, why? He realized our blessings are drawn up. Why is our blessings drawn up? You know what I'm saying? Why is I dressing? I feel like I'm doing so. Well, maybe I've done something I'm not supposed to do. Let me go to the Lord. And that's what we need to do. When we have problems that comes into our lives, when we have situations that arise, sometimes it's just the Lord trying to get your attention. Sometimes it's just the Lord, testing your faith. But sometimes it can be that you've done some stuff and you didn't realize that you've done. There's some sins lingering over you that you haven't quite paid for just yet. And the Lord, he requires some retribution for those sins. And that's the situation here. David knew something was off. He knew things weren't going the way they had been going. He knew something was off. Somebody had done something and he didn't know what it was. And he didn't say, man, I ain't did nothing. I'm perfect. My heart's with God. I can't see why this is going on. He's like, nope, something's off. We're not being blessed the same way we've been. Things are not going the way they normally go. Something's off. Maybe we've upset God. Let me go to God. And that should be our first thing that we do when we start facing these problems, especially when it seems to be, I've heard people say, when it rains, it pours. All right, well, when you get in those situations when it rains, it pours, and it seems like there's one problem after the next, it keeps going on, then you need to get in a quiet place and go to God and ask God, Lord, if there's something I'm doing wrong, or if there's something I haven't done or something I need to do, please show me. You know what I'm saying? That should be our first thing to do. And a lot of times we want to go to everybody else. We'll go read a horoscope or try to read the stars or something else before we go to God and get a problem to God. That's why y'all see me, anybody go to church with me, see every Sunday I go to the altar. And every Sunday morning I go to the altar. And you know what I'm saying? I'm asking God to give me the strength for next week. I'm asking God to forgive me of whatever sins I've committed, because I know I've done something I wasn't supposed to. I don't go up there and be like, well, I'm good. No, I go up there, Lord, anything I've done, intentional or unintentional, please, you know what I'm saying, forgive me for that. And give me the strength I need to go to the next week. And I'm praying for the servants, all the servants, so they can have the same heart and get the same things done. But you got to go to God with everything. You know what I'm saying? When things not going your way and you feel your blessings are drawn up, you feel like your prayers are not being answered, and you feel like it just seems like no matter what happens, you can't get ahead, then go to God and ask God to reveal to you what's wrong. But the thing is, though, when you go to him and you ask him to reveal what's the problem is, be willing and ready to solve that problem once he show it to you. Because sometimes we'll go to God and be like, man, what's the problem? And God might be like, well, you keep on looking at women's booty. You're like, oh, well, man, I ain't going to stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? And you just keep on doing it. You know what I'm saying? Be willing when you ask God wholeheartedly to reveal what the issue is, reveal why you're no longer feeling his blessings. And once he reveals those things to you, be ready to solve that problem. Once he show you that problem, be ready to solve that problem. And that's what David going to do, because David went to him wholeheartedly. He knew that at that moment, they wasn't experiencing the blessings of God. It had been in famine for 3 years. Now, I don't know why he waited a whole 3 years for, maybe he was thinking like, oh, it was just a fluke. I don't know why he waited a whole 3 years, but at the end, he said at the end, it was in the land for 3 years, and he went and asked the Lord about it. So number one, when you feel your blessings are drying up, go to the source of all the blessings. Go to the Lord and find out what exactly is going on. So when he went to the Lord wholeheartedly to find out what was going on, guess what happened? The Lord answered him, and he told him exactly what the problem was. And he said, and the Lord said, the famine has come because Saul and his family are guilty of murdering the Gibeonites. So the Lord told him, now this is something that David had nothing to do with, so he had no clue what was going on. And though I said sometimes you'll be in a situation, you have no clue that you did something to offend God. That's why it's always good. Like I said, I go to the altar every week to tell God if there's anything I've done that's brought shame upon your face or brought any dishonor to your name, or something I've done, whether it's intentional or unintentional, please reveal it to me. Please show it to me. You know what I'm saying? If it's my thoughts or something that's in my heart, take it out of my heart. Because you don't know. Never assume that, oh, I'm so perfect, I'm doing so good, it can't be nothing I'm doing. It must be something else going on. No, David didn't know what it was, and so he went to the Lord. And of course, it was something that really had nothing to do with him. It had something to do with Saul. Because the Lord told him, he said, the famine has come because Saul and his family are guilty of murdering the Gibeonites. So number two is this. Be aware of the effects of sin, the effects of sin. Be aware of the effects of sin, because you got to understand, at this point, Saul is dead. Saul is dead and gone, but yet because of the sins that he committed, the whole nation of Israel is suffering because of the sins that he committed years ago. He committed these sins years ago. He's already dead and gone in his grave. You know what I'm saying? But yet, he's technically not in his grave. We're going to see that later on. But he's dead and gone. And yet, the Israel's still suffering. So we got to understand the effects of sin. Y'all have heard me teach this concept before. But especially as a father, as a leader of the family, or if you're one of those single mothers out there, you got to realize everything you do, especially when you're in a position of power or leadership, everything you do is going to affect those around you. It affects your kids. You know what I'm saying? Your kids know early in the New Old Testament, there was a commandment given, and God was talking to him. He said, the sins of the father will follow the son down to the third and fourth generation. Now, later on, they came back and said, well, no, that's no longer going to happen. A man is going to serve for his own sin. The father is going to serve for his own sins. He's going to pay for his own sins, and the son is going to pay for his own sins. But if you really look at life and the way things go, it happens. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the father does, even when kids kids are not around the father, they still somehow end up doing the same thing that their father's doing. If their father was a hustler or, or alcoholic, they end up inheriting that same thing. Even if they wasn't around them, if they're around them, most definitely. But if they wasn't around them, they still kind of pick up those same traits. It's almost like it's hereditary. And that's because the sins of the father follow the son. So you got to understand, as a father, or as, like I said, a single mother, or just the leader of the family, everything you do affects those around you. You know what I'm saying? And it affects them for time. Because you gotta think about it. We're still today paying for the sin that Adam committed. If you really think about it, for the last 2,000 years, we've still been paying for the same sin that Adam committed. There hadn't been a point yet where like, well, okay, Adam's sin is paid for, and you know what I'm saying, everybody's going to be good now. No, we're still paying for that. So you got to understand. That's why when it's so, that's why I've been doing a lesson on obedience, because it's so important, because you're going to realize that disobedience, how many people pay for that. And the thing is, you got to understand too, the more influence you have, the more people that's going to suffer from it. The more influence you have over people, the higher your position in life is, the more people's going to suffer. Because again, Saul was the first king of Israel. You know what I'm saying? He was the first king of Israel, and he committed this sin, which they haven't gotten into yet, but he committed this sin, and now the entire nation of Israel is suffering for it because of his influence. So you got to understand that the more, you got to be aware of the effect of sin, and you got to understand the more influence you have, the more people will be affected by that sin. And we're going to see here, because of Saul, the influence that he had, and because he was the leader, and because he was the dad, his second and third generation of his family is going to pay for the sins that he committed. So understand that. Be aware that, like I said, I've taught that concept before, that be aware of the decision you make, because it affects everybody around you. Everybody around you is affected by that. But understand also the bigness of that. You got to understand that they don't just go maybe just your kids. It can go down to your grandkids. It can go down to your great-grandkids. Again, it can go down to the third and fourth generations. And we often see that. You know what I'm saying? You see that a lot of time in the hood. You see the same people, they repeat the cycle. You know what I'm saying? They born in the hood, die in the hood. Then their kids grow up, come forth, they born in the hood, die in the hood. It just keep on going. And it's hard to break that chain. I thank God that he gave me the wisdom that I was able to break that cycle. Because before me, it was the same thing. None of I think my mom was the last one to graduate, and she graduated from like a technical school. She didn't graduate from regular high school because she had me when she was like 15. You know, none of my cousins graduated from high school. I mean, everybody was dropped out, and I was the first one in my family to graduate from high school since my mom, and I was the first one to actually go to a 4-year university. So I was able to break the curse, but only because God had a calling on my life, and he had gave me that wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So that what it took to break that cycle. But you gotta understand, when you making these choices, decisions, because we had the mindset and attitude, oh, I'm living my life, I'm doing what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm and it's a selfish attitude to have, because you got to realize it's going to affect everybody that comes behind you, especially if you have kids. Now, if you're single, maybe it'll affect your friends, and it's going to affect your family, because you still got family. But when you have kids, man, it's going to affect those kids. It's going to affect not only your direct kids, your first generation kids, but it's going to affect the generation to come, down, like you said, down to the third and fourth generation. So just be aware of that when you're making your decisions to go out there and do the things that you know you're not supposed to be doing. Other people are going to suffer from it. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about sin. No, when you sin, you're not going to be the only one to suffer for it. Because a lot of people, well, I just let God judge me. And yeah, God will judge you. And you are going to pay for your sins, but there's other people paying for your sins as well. You know what I'm saying? So be careful there. Realize the effect of sin. And we're going to see that throughout this chapter, how this sin that Saul committed years ago is going to affect his family. So in verse 2 it says, so King David summoned, so the Lord told him, you know what I'm saying? He went to the Lord. First of all, he realized there was a problem. The Lord wasn't blessing him. So he went to the Lord and asked him what was going on wholeheartedly. And the Lord told him, hey, this sin has been committed. It wasn't committed by you. It was committed by Saul and his family, but I'm still holding y'all accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand it. So then in verse 2 it says, so King David summoned the Gibeonites, and they were not a part of Israel, but were all that was left of the nation of the Amorites. Now Israel had sworn not to kill them, but Saul in his zeal had tried to wipe them out. So number three is this: God will hold you accountable for any vow that is made to him. So it's best not to make any vows at all. And you're like, well, what are you talking about? How do you get there from that point? I'm explaining. So what the situation is, and why this is a sin, and why God is punishing Israel right now. Now, what happened was, this is back when the Israelites first started going into the land, when they first started conquering the promised land under Joshua. Now, they went in, of course, they crossed the Jordan, they started conquering the land, and of course, the Lord told them when they go in, to kill everybody and burn everything. Like, he was just like destroy. It was basically like a cleansing of the land. He wanted to kill it, and everybody, every place they went, every war, they won every war because the Lord was with them. So there was this group of people called the Gibeonites that realized that there was no way they're going to be able to beat the Israelites because they had God with them. So what they did is actually kind of shady. So what they did, because the Lord told them, don't make any treaties with any of your neighbors, anybody, you got to get rid of everybody. So what the Gibeonites did is they set the Israelites up. They tricked them into making a treaty with them. And they did it by, they went to the Israelites and they took like some old molded bread and they took some old raggedy clothes and they took some old raggedy wine skins. And when they reached the Israelites, they were like, man, we left. Man, this bread was fresh out the oven and this wine skin was brand new. And these clothes we had on was brand new. And our journey was so long that now you see the condition they're in. And see, the Israelites, they didn't do what David did. They just took the people word for it instead of doing some research, or more importantly, instead of going to the Lord, like what David did here in this situation. They didn't go to the Lord, and they just took the people word for it, and they made a treaty with them that they would not kill them. They would never kill them. Well, Lord, behold, after they made the treaty, they come to find out these dudes stayed right down the street from them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like the next city over, basically. So they were their neighbors. So they were somebody that should have been destroyed. But they had made a vow to God that, and in front of the Lord, because when they made the vow in front of the Lord. They made it, you know what I'm saying, they had a whole little ceremony in front of the temple and all that, and they made a vow in front of the Lord, and they gave their word that they wouldn't destroy the Gibeonites. So even though they found out the Gibeonites had lied to them, they had already made the vow. So therefore, they had to honor that vow. So what they did, they just made the Gibeonites their slave. So fast forward now, at some point, and it's weird, because there's a lot of discussion about this situation actually, because if you go through the history, you go through 1 Samuel and the whole reign of Saul, you don't see at what point he actually killed the Gibeonites. They don't really talk about it. But it happened because it came up again later on down the road in this situation here. So they don't really discuss it, but Saul violated the oath that was made in the name of the Lord, and the Lord wasn't going to let this slide. So that's another just a biblical concept that you got to come up with. You know what I'm saying? We are really quick when the Lord deal with us on something. We really quick to go to the Lord and promise, oh, Lord, I promise I'll never do that again. I mean, how many of y'all, I know y'all have done this at some point. I know I'm not the only one that, you know, something bad happened and I was doing some stuff I know I wasn't supposed to be doing and something bad happened. I promise, oh, Lord, if you get me out of this, I'll never do it again. You know what I'm saying? I know my main one was weed. Lord, if you get me out of this situation, I'll never smoke weed again. You know what I'm saying? And then he get me out the situation, and I might go for a little while, and then I'm right back to it. So I know there's going to be things I'm going to have to answer to God for, because I can't tell you how many times I promised him I stopped smoking weed and I went back to it. And you know what I'm saying? And it talks about in the Bible, in the New Testament, when Jesus was talking, he said it's better not to make a vow at all. Just say you're going to do it. Say, make up your decision in your heart that you're going to do it, and do it. He said, because once you make that vow to God, he don't want to hear, oh, I made a mistake. God ain't trying to hear, I made a mistake. God ain't trying to hear, oh, I forgot. He's going to hold you accountable for it. So I know that's the one thing I worry about when I get to heaven, all the stuff that I promised God I'd never do again, that I did again. Because he's going to hold me accountable because I made that vow. So it's better just not to make that vow at all. And we see, because it said, and another weird thing about that verse, it said, but Saul in his zeal, he tried to wipe them out. So if you think about his zeal, that means what he was doing, he felt he was doing for God. You know what I'm saying? He felt he was doing for God. And there's a lot of people do. They feel they doing things for God. Like you see people, and I know I preach against homosexuality and abortion and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, because the Bible talks, it's against it. But, you know what I'm saying? When you see Christians out there standing around abortion clinics with picket signs, telling people they going to hell because they got to, that ain't of God. God wouldn't do no stuff like that. Now, they zealous is in the right place. That what's going on is wrong. But what they should do, they're going to set up outside the abortion clinic, man, set up and talk to these people as they going in and tell them the plan of salvation. You know what I'm saying? Make sure these people have a relationship with God before you throw them picket signs in their face saying how they're going to go to hell and God going to condemn them and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? So their zeal is in the right place. But what does it say about the road to hell? It says the road to hell is paved, the pathway to hell is paved with good intention. So Saul, actually his intentions were good, but in his good intentions, he violated something. He violated the oath that the Israel had made in the name of the Lord, and therefore he brought shame upon the name of the Lord's face. You know, so that's why he had to pay for that. So number 3, God, he's going to hold you accountable for any oath and vow that you made to him. So it's better just not to make them. And I was so upset because I read that after, when Jesus said that, I read that after I always made all these vows and then went back on the vows that I made. Like, man, Jesus, you could have told me that earlier. It's too late now, though. But I'm giving y'all a head. If you ain't never made any vow, if you ain't never went to God and said, Lord, I promise I'll never do that again, then don't do it. Just tell yourself, hey, I'm not going to do it, and you make a valid effort to not do that thing. I know a lot of times, I had a lot of friends in college, in the college day, they get so drunk, and they wake up the next day with a hangover and puking all over themselves, and they're like, oh, Lord, man, I promise I'll never drink again. And then the very next weekend, once they sobered up and got back right, they right back to doing it. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. God is not mocked. So that was number 3. If you make a vow to the Lord, God will hold you accountable for any vow that you made to him. So it's best to not make one at all. And we see, again, Saul is dead. He's already dead. He's gone. But yet the Lord is still holding him accountable for breaking that vow that was made to the Gibeonites. So then David asked them, what can I do? So he's talking to the Gibeonites, and they said Israel, and of course explained that Israel had sworn not to kill them, but Saul in his zeal had tried to wipe them out. So he said, David asked them, what can I do for you to make amends? Tell me so that the Lord will bless his people again. So number 4 is this. When the Spirit shows you that you have wronged someone, make amends as soon as possible. When the Spirit shows you, again, if you go to the Lord and you like, Lord, I don't feel your blessings no more, what's going on, or what did I do? And the Lord shows you, be quick to make amends. You see David immediately. As soon as he found out what was going on, he went straight to him. He went straight to the Gibeonites and asked them, what's going on? He said, what can I do to make amends? Tell me so that the Lord will bless his people again. Because he realized until he made amends with these Gibeonites for what he did wrong, his blessings was being blocked. And y'all remember I did a lesson a few weeks ago. Y'all can go back down my Facebook page, talk about blocking your blessings. See, that's one of the things that can block your blessings. When you got things that you've done wrong and you're not making amends. And I know since I've become started serving the Lord, I've had to make amends with things from my past. So I remember this one that's off the top of my head. I remember my first chemistry job. It kind of ended. I ain't gonna say on bad terms. It wasn't like curse the boss out or nothing. But there was when I left there was some animosity there between me and the boss. And it was because I felt that he should have been elevating me and promoting me and elevating me to a higher position, and I should be getting paid more than what he had paid me. And really at the same time, he was the kind of guy. And I looked at it because of the way I worked. So I was a hard worker, man. We did samples. We did like water samples or soil samples or mercury samples. We did environmental testing. And I would get in there and let's just say for a number, I would get in there and do I would come in later in the day than everybody else, but I would get in there and I'd knock out like 200 samples. Well, most of the other guys, they would come in early in the morning and they might have did, 50, 60, or 80 samples. So I was doing twice as much work as them, but I wasn't getting promoted, and I was upset. But I knew this guy, I knew from the beginning that he liked people to get there early. In my mindset, I'd rather somebody get there late and work hard than somebody get there early and barely do anything, but that's not the way he was. And I knew that, but I was trying to force my ideologies, I guess you could say, on him, and he wasn't having it. So because I came in late all the time, even though I worked my butt off when I got there, didn't take breaks, and I got made more bid than the people that came in early, it still wasn't what he wanted. It wasn't what he liked. So, and I wasn't doing it his way, I guess I can say. And because of that, he wasn't promoting me. So there was some animosity there, and I eventually, I ended up leaving that job. And once I started really getting into the Lord and getting into my Bible, understand my Bible, I actually called back and I apologized to him one day. So I called it just out of the blue. The Lord was just burning my heart up about that. And I realized that I was the one in the wrong. Yeah, I was working hard and I was doing more than everybody else, but I knew what this guy liked. I knew he liked people getting there early, and getting things done. And I was getting there late. Honestly, you wouldn't know telling what time I would get there some days. It would come in crazy kind of hours. And therefore, he wasn't promoting me. So really, I was the one in the wrong because I knew he liked people getting there. So I called him out. I was probably like, man, you know what? I was being immature. I was being childish. I know the way you like things to run. I know you like the way things to run your area. And I was the one just trying to do it my way. And I was upset at you because you weren't recognizing my way instead of me doing it your way. And I apologize. And man, we talked, and man, we've been best of buddies since then. He even went to another lab, and it's weird because he ended up being a contractor for me for my new position. So I went out there and I visited him. He took me out to lunch, man. We had a good old time. It was like put it all under the bridge. But I realized that I was wrong and I made amends. And that's what David is doing here. He realized that there was some animosity there. There was some animosity because of what Saul did to these Gibeonites, and some amends need to be made. And he wanted to with them. Now he should go to them and say, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give you this, and, this should be good enough. No, he went to them. He went directly to them and asked them, like, look, man, hey, we've done you wrong. My people did your people wrong. What can we do to make amends? You know what I'm saying? He didn't just say, this is what I'm going to do to you. This is what I'm going to give you, and this should satisfy you. You should be happy. No, he asked, what can I do to make amends? And so when you go to the Lord and you ask the Lord where you went wrong, you straight out the path, or, what I'm saying, if there's something I've done wrong, Lord, to offend you, what can I do? Don't go to the Lord and say, well, Lord, I'm going to do this, and hopefully that'll be good. No, go to the Lord and ask the Lord, well, first of all, if I've done something wrong, what have I done wrong, and what can I do to correct that wrong? And when you do that, man, you'll get your blessings back. And we're going to see that toward the end of the chapter, how David's going to get his blessings back. Because, first of all, he realized he had did something wrong was did. He went to the Lord and realized something wrong was done. He went to the people and asked them what they can do to make amends. And he's going to do everything in his power to make amends. So then in the verse 4, it says, well, money won't, he's talking to the Gibeonites, and the Gibeonites told him, said, well, money won't do it. The Gibeonites replied. And again, this is just some biblical concept. I like that reply to them, because they were like, you ain't going to just pay me off. You know what I'm saying? Well, what you did to my folks, you ain't going to just pay me off and I'm going to forget about it. And see, that's why David asked him. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure most time we think money going to solve our problem. Matter of fact, number 5 is this: money is not the solution to your problems, but a close relationship with the Lord is. We work so hard and we do so much to try to stack up money, thinking money is going to solve all our problems. You know what I'm saying? I recently spoke at TSU, and I went to for their chemistry day. It was actually like a year or so ago. Well, I didn't get to go last year because of the Corona. And that was one of the things that I put. And I was just telling them what they expect when they get into the chemistry field and what kind of mindset they have. And I said, one of the things, main thing I told them, like, when you get ready to accept a job, if you're looking for a job, do not let money be your motivation. You know what I'm saying? Because your peace and your peace of mind is worth way more than any money. You don't want to get a job making a whole lot of money, but you're stressed out every day. You can't even enjoy the money because you're stressed out. You're going to put yourself in the early grade. But we do that. We think if we just get enough money, all of our problems are going to go away. When in reality, we need to just get to having a closer relationship with God. And God is the solution to all of our problems. A closer walk with Him and not money. You know what I'm saying? And we realized that we would stop spending so much time. Yes, you need money. I understand you need money. There's things that money can't get you. There's things that money can't give you. But that peace that passes on all understanding, only that comes from God. And the only way you can get there is by having a close relationship with God. So realize that money ain't going to solve all your problems. There's certain situations and certain problems you're going to have that money can't solve. Matter of fact, over in Ecclesiastes is a verse that I like. Solomon, this was Solomon talking, which was David's son. And he said, and I'm going to misquote it, but he said something to the fact, he said, it's good to be rich, but it's also good to be, it's good to be rich, but it's better to have wisdom. He said, because with money and wisdom can get you anything, but only wisdom can save your life. And seeing what does wisdom come from? Wisdom, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So in other words, he's saying, yes, it's good to have money, but it's better to have a close relationship with the Lord, because that's the only thing that can truly save your life. So understand that money is not the solution to your problem. A close relationship with God is the solution to your problem. And we see that now. That was David hoping, because that would have been an easy fix. Oh, I can just throw some money, because David had a lot of money. David was rich. He was one of the richest kings there was. He was richer than Saul was. And you know what I'm saying? He had all kind of allies, and he had all kind of money coming in. So that would have been easy for him. Oh, I can just throw him a couple of talents and a few shekels here and there, and that'll be good. But no, they're like, no, it ain't gonna be that easy. Money ain't gonna solve this problem. So the same thing, apply that same thing in your life. Whatever problem you're going through, money is not gonna solve that problem. A closer walk with God will, though. So then he said, so they'll tell us, well, money won't do it, the Gibeonites replied. He said, and we don't want to see the Israelites executed in revenge. So that's going to be number 6. Number 6 is this. Instead of seeking revenge from your enemies, from those that have done you wrong, seek forgiveness. Seek forgiveness. Seek forgiveness instead of revenge for those that have wronged you. And, of course, that's one of those concepts that Jesus taught, and that's a hard concept. Because we get out when folks do us wrong. Now, of course, the Gibeonites ain't gonna do that. Like I said, this is just a biblical principle going through the lesson. That's what that's what I'm saying. The biblical principle that's been talked about that was done. But you know what I'm saying. But we talked to Jesus. Jesus said, show mercy. You know what I'm saying. Pray for your enemies. He said, if your enemies are hungry, give them food. If your enemies are thirsty, give them water. See, we get in our flesh and we wanna get the gratification from making them suffer. We want to be the one that punch them in their mouth like they punch me in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? We want to be the one that make them lose something that like they made us lose something. We want to be the ones to do that. And we don't realize when we just put in God's hand, whatever God do to them people or when God take care of the situation, it's going to be way more, it's going to be way better than anything we could have imagined. You know what I'm saying? When God handles it, he handles it. He take care of it. You know what I'm saying? But we always want to get in our flesh and we want the enjoyment of making them suffer like they made us suffer. And that's not what you should want to do. That's not a true Christian heart. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't want to see anybody else suffer. You shouldn't want to get their revenge. Because what does the Bible say? Vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord. Put it in God's hand. You know, seek forgiveness. What did Jesus say? Jesus could have called down, he said, if I want to, I can call down angels, a whole squadron of angels from my Father in heaven. But what was he saying on the cross? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You know what I'm saying? So if you call yourself a Christian, that's the standard. You know what I'm saying? When people are messing you over, when somebody's done you wrong, that's the standard. Jesus set the standard. And so we should be seeking forgiveness for people that have done us wrong instead of seeking revenge. And that's what the Gibeonites said. They said, well, we don't want the Israelites to be slaughtered. And the thing is, I'm sorry, y'all. And the thing is, the reason why that's so important, because right now they got the power. Because again, that right now the Israel is in famine, and they in the famine because of what was done to these Gibeonites. So the Gibeonites got the power. They the one that basically get to determine what's going to happen to the Israelites or not. You know what I'm saying? They got the power. So, but David, he's complying because it's in his heart to comply. But he, at the same time, he almost got to comply if he want to get them blessings back. Because right now, the Lord's blessing has been cut off from them because of the sin that's been lingering over their head. You know what I'm saying? But they told us that we don't want to see the Israelites executed in revenge. So they weren't seeking revenge from the Israelites per se. Now they still gonna get revenge on Saul, but they're not seeking revenge from the whole nation of Israel. But right now the whole nation of Israel is suffering because of what Saul did. And that's what he said. And they basically said, look, we don't want the whole nation of Israel to suffer. We just want the man that made us suffer. Matter of fact, he said in the next verse, he said, no, they told David, money ain't gonna do it, and we don't want to see the Israelites slaughtered in revenge. He said, so David actually said, what can I do then? David asked, just tell me and I will do it for you. So that goes back to number 4. What I tell you, you know what I'm saying? David realized that he had wronged somebody, and he doing everything he can to make amends. Not telling them what he's going to do to make it right. He's asking them, what can I do to make it right? And when, like I said, when you've done something wrong to somebody, when you've you've done something, and we know we did people wrong. You know what I'm saying? I can always tell when somebody did me wrong and they did it on purpose because they just keep apologizing. Now, every time I see them, they want to bring it up. Apologize. And I'm like, man, stop apologizing. If I forgive you for it, I forgive you for it. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you really truly are sorry for it, ask me what can you do to make up for it. You know what I'm saying? And like what was done here, and that was David actually. You see, his heart was in the right place. He really wanted to make things right. He really wanted them to understand, like, man, look, I'm sorry for this. What can I do? He didn't tell them what he's going to do. He said, what can I do to make up for it? And we should follow that example. So again, when the Spirit shows you that you've wronged someone, make amends as soon as possible. And that's what we see David trying to do. He's trying to make amends. So then in verse 5, it says, then they replied, it was Saul who planned to destroy us, to keep us from having any place at all in Israel. So let 7 of Saul's sons or grandsons be handed over to us, and we will execute them before the Lord at Gibeon on the mountain of the Lord. That's rough there, man. That's rough. And you know that's something David didn't want to do, but I mean it's rough. That he asked him, whatever it is, I'll do it, and he did it. But number 7 is this. This is something we gotta understand, and we see this from the life of Saul. Because again, bro, he's still dealing with the sins of the father. But something we gotta understand. Number 7 is this: the bad that you plan for others will come back on you. The bad that you always plan, whenever you planning bad or evil or planning to do something wrong, you got to realize everything you put out there is going to come back on you. Now, I know they got the concept of karma. I don't believe in karma, but the Bible do say you reap what you sow. And that's what you got to realize. If you out there sowing evil, you out there doing people wrong, you out there robbing people, stealing from people, conning people out of their money, it's going to come back on you. Just as much as you lost, you got from them, you're going to lose even more. You know what I'm saying? If not your life in the process. So you got to be careful how you treat people and how you do. That's why the Bible says, that's why the Bible talks about the golden rule. That's why it says, do unto others and you will have others do unto you. Because whatever you do to other people, whatever you plan to do to other people, whatever you try to do to other people, is going to come on back on you. So if you out there doing wrong, which was Saul did, it said he planned, because it said he was the one. It said Saul was the one who planned to destroy us. So this was premeditated. You know what I'm saying? This was some premeditated stuff that Saul had did. He had planned this from the beginning that he was going to destroy these people. So since he had planned in his heart to do that, now it's coming back on his family. He tried to destroy them, so now his family is about to be destroyed. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand, when you out there doing everything you do, but at the same time, same breath, if you do good toward people, if you go out there and spread God's word, if you go out there and help people when they're down and out, you go out there and give them words of encouragement, then guess what? When you need that same encouragement, it's going to come back to you. And I can attest to that, because I always try to do the best I can to spread God's word everywhere I go, and I try to do right by people everywhere I go, and try to do good for people every time. And every time I need something, man, God always has somebody there to help me out. So God always send me to exactly where I need to go, so I can know what I need to know or get what I need to get to whatever situation I'm in. I've seen that happen time and time again, and I know it's only because it's me getting back some of the good that I put out there. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I look at you know, I've been talking about women and, you know, the importance of women. You know what I'm saying? I look at my daughters. I have beautiful daughters. And, you know, and one thing I worry about them getting with the wrong person. But at the same time, I think, man, when I was younger, even though all the other guys were always dogging the girls, when we was younger, I was always the one that's there for their friend, to be their friend. I was always the one there for the shoulder for them to cry on. I was always the one trying to give them encouragement, try to keep them out of these bad relationships. And that's why I always end up in the friend zone. I stayed in the friend zone. I had a house in the friend zone because the women, they always like the bad guys, it seems, but the good guys, the one that end up in the friend zone. You know, but I stayed in the friend zone. But you know, so I've always did that. I've always been there, and there's women from girls that I know from elementary this day. You know what I'm saying, that I'm still friends with, because I was always there for the encouragement. And I can tell you how many told, like, man, I wish I would have listened to you when we was younger. I wish I would have did what you said when we was younger, because I was always an encouragement for them. You know what I'm saying? So I pray that the same thing I get paid back by my daughters. You know what I'm saying? And I thank God I don't have my daughters, as far as I know, not out here in the streets, and they get into that age and they're not boy happy and they're not chasing boys and all that stuff just yet, at least. And I'm gonna keep my finger crossed, knock on wood, just yet. They not out there like I see a lot of these young kids doing in their age. Matter of fact, my dog was talking to me about, like, man, you know what I'm saying, they call it having bodies. They were like, man, this girl got this many bodies, and this girl, he said, I can't believe it, Dad. I can't believe they put themselves out there like that. And I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. Like, they see it, you know what I'm saying? Because that's my one thing. I don't want my babies being out there in the streets like that, you know. And I believe the reason why I have this relationship with them that I have, and you know, so they are the way they are, is because of what I've done when I was younger. I never mistreated a woman. Any women I was with, I was always straight up with them. You know what I'm saying? So, and I believe that's the payback I'm getting for that. The good I'm receiving, my good. So I just thank you. I thank the Lord so much. What do you want? Oh, I got a visitor, y'all. Talking about the love of a baby. Look at this cuteness here. Say hello. Say hello. Hello. Go ask, where's your grandmama at? Are you missing from the Rez? Are you missing a grandchild? Stop putting your tongue out. That's nasty. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. So I think the lot of the.
Hi. There you go. How are you? How'd you get in here?
She broke in.
You broke in.
Yeah.
Good job. It's time to eat. Come on, let's go.
Go eat. Give me a kiss. Mwah. All right.
Come on, dinosaur.
I know I was talking about how the women love their child, but man, I don't know. I think I can compete with y'all with the love of my grandbaby. I love that little girl to death, bad as she is. But again, so number 7, I digress. Number 7 was the bad that you plan for others will come back on you. And again, your family is going to suffer. And we see here, Saul is dead and gone, so he might not have got it directly, but his family is about to suffer for some decision that he made when he went against the will of God. And also we see back to, again, we see reference to be aware of the effect of sin. So we about to see, because of this sin that Saul committed, his family is about to have to pay for it. So then the next line, now, of course, I know David didn't want to do this, but he had to do what needed to be done to make amends. Because again, right now, they can tell that the blessing of God wasn't on the nation. So it said in the next line, it said, all right, the king said, I will do it. So again, they had to. Now you remember, David and Saul had their beef. You know what I'm saying? But I still don't believe that David. Matter of fact, this next line will show you. It's going to be our next point. So it said David told him, "I'll do it," and of course it's because again refer back to number 4, him trying to make amends, do what he need to do to make amends. So that's why he agreed to do it. But then in verse 7 it said, "But David spared Jonathan's son Mephibosheth, who was Saul's grandson, because of the oath David and Jonathan had sworn before the Lord." So number 8 is this: be a man or woman of your word, especially when it comes to the things of God. Again, be a man or a woman of your word, especially when it comes to the things of God. Again, a little bit of history of what this statement is saying here when it says because of the oath they made. Now, when Saul was trying to kill David, Saul's son Jonathan and David were best friends. They were like, if you read through the Bible, a lot of people try to say they were gay, but they did have a bromance. I mean, they had a strong love for each other. And when Jonathan finally realized that his father Saul was really jealous of David and was trying to kill David, you know what I'm saying, he told David, like, look, I think the Lord is taking you away from this place. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to protect yourself, basically you need to leave. So before they left, they made a pact. And David said, he told David, he said, look, I already know. He basically said, look, I know the Lord is with you. I know you're going to be the next king. He said, so just show kindness to my family. He said, and if I outlive you, I will do the same thing. I'm not going to go basically, because back then, when people had beefs, especially when they took over like kingdoms, when one king became the next king, especially if it was a hostile takeover, they didn't just take over and like, okay, cool. They killed everybody. They killed everybody in that family. Anybody that had the royal blood in them that can come and possibly challenge them for the throne, they killed everybody. It wasn't no, you know what I'm saying, just, okay, I got the throne, I'm good. They went and killed everybody. That's how they did things back then. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they made this pact. And Jonathan said, look, man, you know what I'm saying, you've always been like my brother. I love you. I see now my dad's trying to kill you. He said, so just promise me that if I die before you, that you'll show kindness to my family when the Lord bring you. Because he said, as a matter of fact, you go back and read it, because I just did this lesson with my kids. It's over in 1 Samuel. But he said, when the Lord bring you into this to the throne and destroys your enemies. Basically, he's like, he didn't say if. He said when. So he's like, basically, I know the Lord is going to give you the throne. I know you're going to destroy all your enemies. So please just promise me you're not going to destroy my kids. Because technically they were David's enemies. Because Saul and the family of Saul had been trying to kill David toward the end there. So they made that pact. And it shows you that David was a man of his word. Because he could have easily gave up this Mephibosheth. And I don't want to get into that. I don't want to go too much. But that's basically, he was the son of Jonathan. And before this happened, David actually found this son of Jonathan, Mephibosheth, and he was actually crippled. And they found him and brought him into the castle, and he was treating him as like one of his own sons. And so David didn't want to give him up because of the promise he made to Jonathan, and he wanted to keep his word to Jonathan, but he did give up these other kids. And that's when we finna get to see this mom come in. This mom about to come in. But the thing is, he was a man of his word. You know what I'm saying? Even though Saul was gone and Jonathan was gone, he could have easily, took back what he said. He could have easily reneged on his promise, but he was a man of his word. So I would say, again, another biblical concept, be a man of your word. It's so many, I see this so much today that people are not a man or woman. I say man or woman of their word. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody that know me knows I go out every Saturday and knock on doors. And I bring it up because I do it, not just bragging, but because of the point. And I go out and knock on doors, man, and I talk to people, and we have good conversations, and we have conversations about the Lord, and they always promise, oh, man, I promise, I'm going to come to your ministry. I promise, you know what I'm saying, I watch your videos. I promise, I'm going to do this, and then I never hear from them. You know what I'm saying? They give me the phone, and I tell them about my lost sheep ministry that I have every couple of weeks, and they give me their phone number, and I literally have hundreds phone numbers in my phone from people that I've talked to that said that, they're going to come to the ministry. And I text these people every time we have a meeting, because until somebody tell me to stop texting them, I just keep texting them. So, you know what I'm saying? So every time we have a ministry, the night before, I send out this text, and I have yet, you know what I'm saying, to have the people show up. I think maybe 3 or 4 over the last 5-6 years, and I have hundreds. You see what I'm saying? And people do that all the time. I'm the type of person, man, if I have no intention, if I tell you that I'm going to do something, if I say I'm going to come visit you here, or I'm going to call you back here, or I'm going to pray for you or something, if I tell you that I'm going to do something, there's some action I give you, I'm going to do that thing. You know what I'm saying? And if I have no intentions of actually going through with that, I don't make that promise. People do that all the time. Oh man, yeah, I come check it out, knowing darn well they have no intentions on coming to check that out. Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna get on there and check you out, knowing darn well they have no intentions on getting there and checking them out. You see what I'm saying? Stop making all. If you put your something out there, if you give your word that you're gonna do something, be a man or a woman of your word. And that's what David here. That's why you see why he was such a great king. He was a man or a woman of his word. He said this is what he was gonna do, and he did it. He said he was gonna protect Jonathan's kid, and he did protect Jonathan's kid. Now he didn't make that promise to Saul, so watch what happened. And I kind of hate that it had to go down like this, but it says, so he said he wanted to protect Jonathan, to keep his word, because again, he made that pact with Jonathan, and he was a man of his word. So then it said, but he gave them Saul's two sons, Moni and Mephibosheth. Now it's not the same one that he was taking care of, because the other Mephibosheth was Jonathan's son. This was Saul's son, Mephibosheth. So I guess it was a common name back then. So it said, but he gave them Saul's two sons, Moni and Mephibosheth, whose mother was Rizpah, daughter of Ahiah. Now that's a wonderful woman. We're going to see why here in a second. He said he also gave them the 5 sons of Saul's daughter Merab, the wife of Adriel, son of Barzillai from Maholah. Now right there, this is kind of a little tidbit. Now if you read the King James Version, right there, it says that he gave them, he said, but the King James, this one of those situations, when we read the King James, he said, but the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Ahiah, woman whom she bare unto Saul, Moni and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michael, the daughter of Saul. Now, if you hear that, you're like, Michael, the daughter, and that's the girl that David was married to, because he had married Michael, the daughter of Saul. So I did a little research, because that kind of confused me there. And what it was, Merab was the one that actually married this guy, Adriel. But according to history, and of course, you know, I just read through some commentaries and did a little research. And with the research that everybody's done, apparently at some point Merab died. So Michael ended up having no kids. Because you read over there, and when David first became king, there was a situation where Michael looked upon David, and she had like disgust in his eyes because he was dancing before the Lord, and he had on basically had on no clothes. So she was disgusted with David, and him and her got to arguing. And it said that from that point on, she never did have any kids. She ended up dying barren, so she never had any kids. So it was a situation where her sister had died, so she was the aunt raising her sister's kids. That's with the research, and that's how people look at it. Because a lot of people try to say, "Oh, the Bible contradicts itself." No, because if you look at most versions of the Bible, like even in the New Living Translation, it put Merab in. Because again, if you go back to where Saul was first trying to kill David, he was trying to get David to marry one of his daughters so he can kill him. Merab was the first one he tried to give to David, and it said that David rejected her, so she was married to this Adriel guy. So that's where it come out. But still, point number 9 is, that's just a little tidbit there. But point number 9 is this, for mothers. And this is for mothers. Now, I want to say this. I'm going to make this statement before I say this. I have no clue if this statement is true, but from the mothers I've talked to and the women I've talked to that had kids, they've told me this statement. That's why I put this statement in there. But this is not from my own personal experience. So you women, y'all going to have to back me up if this is true or not. So number 9 is this, for mothers. The sorrows of motherhood is one of the true joys of life. Now, y'all get what I'm saying? The sorrows of motherhood is one of the true joys of life. And that's what I've been told. You know, the woman, because I remember one of my best friends, she's like a sister to me. I remember when she first got pregnant, she's like, oh my goodness, I don't think I can take care of a child. I don't know if I'm going to be a mother. I don't know how I'm going to be. Because she had a checkered past, so to speak. And she's like, I just don't think I'm worth being a mother. I'm worthy of it, blah, blah, blah. But since she's had those kids, man, her having those kids completely changed her life around. And unfortunately, she had it with some no good dude that got her pregnant twice and ain't taking care of neither one of the kids. You know what I'm saying? Which I poke fun at her about that. But at the same time, she's like, I still want to take it. Even being a single mother, even though I have to struggle to work every day to make ends meet, don't got nobody there to support me, really don't have a life because my outside of work is me and the kids. So even though she said, I wouldn't take any of it back. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I put that statement there. For mothers, the sorrows of motherhood is one of the true joys of life. Because again, that's a hard thing. That's the sorrow. Because the Lord said, in sorrows, they have that connection with their kid. They can't just distance themselves from their kid, just like us men do. and which is why you got so many single mothers. You know what I'm saying? And they have to, no matter what that kid is going through, no matter, like you said, even the kid is ugly, they still got to love their kids. That's their baby. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, every woman I've talked to about it, they say, yes, it was rough. You know what I'm saying? The going through the pain of it and the suffering that comes along afterwards because of the way the kids behave and things. But they all say, I wouldn't change it for the world. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't change it for the world. And I've had several women tell me that them having their kid, as rough as it is, them having their kid is what saved their lives because of the path that they was on. But them having their kid made them straighten up. You know what I'm saying? I've heard this several times. So again, that's a statement based on conversations, but you women, you got to back me up on that. So number 9, for mothers, the sorrows of motherhood is one of the great true joys of life. And the reason why I say, because look at this, it said this lady, Rizpah, we're going to focus on that. Because you notice who they named in this section. It says he gave them Saul's 2 sons, whose mother was Rizpah, daughter of Ahihah. So again, who did they mention? The mother. And then the second, it says, he also gave them the 5 sons of Saul's daughter, Miriam, the wife of Adriel. So they both times they brought up the mother. They didn't bring up the dad. Now they did mention the daddy in the second woman, but both times they brought up the mother because they know the mother's going to be the one that's going to suffer the most. You see what I'm saying? Because of that connection, that curse that the Lord put on them back in Genesis, that connection they have, the mother's going to suffer from most. But at the same time, that mother still had that joy in their heart, and they remember holding that baby. You know what I'm saying? They remember all the good times with that baby. You know what I'm saying? Yes, their life might be taken away a little too soon, so to speak, because of what their dad did, what their granddad did, but they still get the joy of raising that child, having that child, bringing that child into the world. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know if those guys before they was killed, if they had grandbabies. So even though they missing their actual babies missed, they maybe still have some grandbabies that they can take care of that these guys are leaving behind. You know what I'm saying? But that's joy, and the women to have that joy, even though there's sorrow that comes along with childbearing. Yes, they bodies don't look as good. They don't have that hourglass figure no more. You know what I'm saying? It looks more like a stopwatch instead of an hourglass. Yes, because of them kids. You know what I'm saying? They may their hair might be thinning. You know, the things are starting to sag that didn't sag before. Yes, that happens. But I guarantee you, most women I talk to, true mothers, that is, wouldn't tell me every single time, I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change that thing about it. So that's why I made this statement. For mothers, the sorrows of motherhood is one of the true joys of life. And I do, honestly, like I said, that's my opinion, based on research that I've done, women I've talked to, but I do believe it's true. And if I'm wrong, women, y'all let me know. So, but you notice they talked about these women, and it's important. So they bring up that it took 7 of his kids, 2 of Saul's sons, and 5 of his grandsons. So when they took them, it said the men of Gibeon executed them on the mountain before the Lord. So all 7 of them died together at the beginning of the barley harvest. So once again, we see that going back to number 2. We see the sins of the father, the sons suffering for the sins of the fathers. And that's why we got to watch what we do. That's why we got to watch the effects of these sins, because it affects our families. You know what I'm saying? Generations down. Again, Saul is dead and gone. This is his sons and his grandsons. That's 2 generations of people that's suffering because of this one man's sin. So we got to be careful with the effects of sin. Now we get to the mom. This is the man that we get to the mom. We see this, what I call the Supermom. Watch what she do, y'all. This touches my heart when I see the love that this woman had. And that's why I say I believe, even though she was in sorrow, she still had joy. So in verse 10 it says, so then Rizpah, the mother of the 2 men, so those are the ones, she was the concubine of Saul. So of course she was the mother of the 2 and not the 5 grandsons. But it said then Rizpah, the mother of the 2 men, spread sackcloth on a rock and stayed there the entire harvest season. She prevented vultures from tearing at their bodies during the day and stopped the wild animals from eating them at night. Man, is that not amazing? I mean, it didn't say she went and got a chair and pulled up a chair or made herself a bed and a little comfy bed and laid there. Man, she sat on a rock for months, because it said the entire harvest season, for months, fighting out vultures and fighting out wild animals. You know what I'm saying? To keep them, because if the vultures, they're bad enough. Those some ugly, disgusting looking birds. But you know what I'm saying? The predators that was coming, this ain't like it was just, rabbits or nothing. These were like wolves. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even lions. Whatever they came up, she stayed there and fought for her kid because she loved them that much. So number 10 is this. And I said this in the intro, and that's also the same that what I said in the intro is for this point. Number 10 is this point. Number 10 is this. A mother's love is as close as we can get to godliness in this world. As we get to seeing godliness in this world. I truly believe that. Again, this is my opinion. There is no biblical verses for that. But I truly believe that. I believe a mother's love is close as we get to seeing godliness in this world. If you look at all that goes around a mother's love. And again, they even with their love, it's not, still ain't compared to what God really is, but I think it's about as close as we're going to get to seeing it, a mother's love. Because no matter what, she fought for her kids. These kids was dead. You know what I'm saying? She could have easily went on about her business, mourned them, and went on, maybe I don't know how old she was, but maybe even made some more. But no, she didn't want her kids to be defiled. She couldn't stop what happened to them, but she couldn't stop their deaths, but she definitely was able to stop for what happened to them after they died. She was able to stop them ripping these wild animals coming and ripping her kids' bodies apart, and she did that for months. That means she could, if she did it day and night, that means she didn't sleep for months so she could protect her kids. That's how deep her love was for her kids, man. That's a mother's love there. Again, that's why when you see these abortions, that's why abortion's so bad. Because it shows that we've gotten so far away from God that the mothers don't even have that connection to their kids like they used to in the beginning. That's what that shows. You see what I'm saying? And it said this mother, her love for her kids was so deep. Again, get this in y'all mind, understand the business, and that's why I want to do this story, show you how the strength of a woman. You know what I'm saying? Us men, we might be foolish enough to think that we're stronger than women. You know what I'm saying? And we might be as far as physical wise, but the emotional strength and the mental strength that women have, man, we can't compare with. Months. Like I said, I'm in here in the cut. I hate dealing with critters out here. You know what I'm saying? Just the little critters that be running around here I can't deal with. You know, deer terrify me because they've tore up 2 of my vehicles already. You see what I'm saying? But this woman, she didn't care. These were her babies. Her baby was sitting there hungry. She had to give them up because of the king's command, but she didn't have to leave them. And she stayed there for months. She completely gave up her life to sit there for months to protect her babies. They keep animals from leaving. They were already dead. But that's how deep her love is. And that's why I say a mother's love is as close as we can get to seeing godliness in this world. I truly believe that, a mother's love. And that's why, again, I love you mothers, and I appreciate you. And watch what happened because of her love. Because of her love, watch what happens. It said in the next verse, it says, so when David learned what Rizpah, Saul's concubine, had done, he went to the people of Jabesh Gilead and asked for the bones of Saul and his son Jonathan. And when Saul and Jonathan had died in battle with the Philistines, it was the people of Jabesh Gilead who had retrieved their bodies from the public square of the Philistine city in Bethshan. So David brought the bones of Saul and Jonathan, as well as the bones of the men of the Gibeonites, the Gibeonites had executed, and he buried them all in the tomb of Kish, Saul's father, at the town of Zelah in the land of Benjamin. So you see what happened? And number 11 is this. A mother's love can challenge and change the heart of men. You know what I'm saying? That's where their strength come from, that love. It changed David's heart. Because what do you see there? What do you see? And a lot of people don't pick up what's being said about that verse. It shows you that David did actually still have some animosity towards Saul. Because he hadn't even given him a proper burial yet. Because if y'all, again, I'm giving you a little bit of history level so y'all understand what I'm talking about. All right, you know what I'm saying? When David and Saul, they was beefing, of course, and David, Saul tried to kill David on several occasions. And then finally, you know what I'm saying, David got through to Saul. He had a couple of times where he could have killed Saul, and he let Saul go. So the second time, Saul finally said, all right, man, I'm done. I'm not chasing you no more. And he left him alone. And then he went off to war with the Philistines. So while he was at war, he ended up, getting killed. Him and his son Jonathan died together. And what the Philistines did when they found Saul's body, they actually took him and his sons and all his sons that died, and they strapped them to a wall. You know what I'm saying? As a disgrace, as a display kind of thing. So when the men of Jabesh Gilead, which was a city of Israel, heard about it, they went and broke into the Philistine camp, and they took Saul and his sons' bodies, and they buried those, and they took his bones. Because back then they were very ritualistic, and something like that it was defiled. Just like with these men that the Gibeonites killed. That's why the mom stayed there to fight off, because it would defile the body. You know what I'm saying? They believed that it would defile the sanctity of the temple that these people once lived in. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Philistines did. They wanted to defile Saul. They wanted to, you know what I'm saying, make them feel sorry, really truly feel sorry. The people of Israel truly feel sorry for crossing them, so to speak. So that's why they hung them on the wall for display. You know what I'm saying? It was an embarrassment to the nation of Israel. So when the men of Jabesh Gilead heard that, they were just like, nah, you ain't doing this to my king. And they broke into the camp and they, you know what I'm saying, took the bodies down and they took them back. But you notice David never did go get them bodies. Even after he became king, he didn't go get them bodies. It wasn't until he saw this act by this love, until he saw this love for this mother, that he realized how selfish and how wrong that he had been. And it changed his heart. It challenged his heart. The strength that that lady, the love that that lady displayed for her two sons, for her to be able to sit out there on a rock for months. Like I said, she wasn't in no bed. She wasn't sleeping. And I'm pretty sure all she had was a stick. She didn't have no sword, but she had a stick, and she fought off whatever animal that came and tried to touch her babies. That's how strong her love, and that's what the love of a mother can do, man. It can change the heart of a man. And because it changed David's heart, and it brought David under conviction. And because it brought David under conviction, he went back and he made things right, and he went and got the bodies, and he buried all of them, gave them a proper burial. Because again, Saul was a king. Jonathan was a prince. You know what I'm saying? If you look through, if you go through the book of Kings and Chronicles, as kings died and stuff, there was a certain burial, a certain way they was buried. There was a certain way they was taken care of after they died to show that they was a king, and it showed that, that they was honored basically after they died. And David never did that for Saul. So that shows you that David had a little animosity in his heart. But because of this love of his mother, her love was so deep. Her love was so, I mean, what she did was so profound. Man, it changed David's heart and brought him under conviction about what he did. And he went back and not only got the 7 bodies of the ones that had just killed, he went back and got Saul and Jonathan's body and buried them all together. That's how much under conviction that he brought. See, that's what the love of a mother can do, man. And that's what I'm saying. That's why it's important, us men, we got to stop tearing our women down, making them feel unappreciated, making them feel like the things they do is unimportant, because we losing that motherly love that sustains us, that has helped us make it through all these years. We're losing that. And we got women, because men been beating them down so much and talking bad about them, putting them down so much, making them feel so insignificant, that now they're getting away from being mothers and they're trying to be CEOs instead of mothers. And we need that motherly love for us to sustain, to keep going, because it can change the heart of men. And we saw that the love, her love was so deep, what she did was so profound that it changed David's heart, and he even got himself back right. And watch, and we're going to see it in the last line. The last line is this, in my last point. It says, so after that, God ended the famine in the land of Israel. Now, I want to read the King James Version on that one as well, because of what the way it reads. It says, and the bones of Saul and Jonathan, his son, buried they in the country of Benjamin in Zelah, in the sepulchre of Kish his father, and they performed all that the king commanded. So again, they did, and that's why I wanted to read the King James so you can see it. They gave him a proper burial. You know, they buried him with his father, and they gave him a proper burial. They truly honored him, and David felt bad about it. And we can tell, because it said, and after that, God wasn't treated for the land. So he had to get himself right. He had to get himself right and get that animosity out of his heart, for he was able to go back to God, and God was able to bless him again. See, he was holding the animosity in his heart. So God used all this to show David that he still had some stuff in his heart that wasn't quite right. You know what I'm saying? David realized something was going on. We saw that at the beginning. He went to the Lord and he realized that, and the Lord used this whole situation to show David that there was some things wrong. So number 12 is this, and this is again, this last concept, and this is for all of us. A heart full of animosity can block you from your blessings. And that what was really, truly, I believe, blocking him from their blessings, because David still had paid the popular homage to Saul. Now again, Saul did try to kill him. Saul tried to kill him several times, ran him out of his land. You know what I'm saying? Tried to even one time he tried to kill him in his bed, because David's wife Michal told Saul that he was sick in his bed. He was like, bring the bed to me. I'm gonna kill him in his bed. You know, so Saul had did him wrong. But the animosity that David was holding in his heart was keeping David from getting blessings. It was keeping him, it was severing his connection with the Lord. And it'll do the same thing for us. We holding hostility in our heart toward anybody, you know what I'm saying? It would sever our connection from the Lord. It would keep us from getting our blessings. And we see here where it says, once they got done that, once they did that, once he made amends with the Gibeonites, gave them what they wanted, so to speak. And once he went back and gave Saul and Jonathan a proper burial, then the Lord was entreated. Then he was able to go to the Lord, and the Lord blessed them, and he brought the rain back. You know what I'm saying? He ended the famine. You know what I'm saying? Because David got his heart right. So you got to understand something. When you holding that animosity in your heart, you holding bitterness towards somebody, you holding grudges on somebody, you're the one that's hurting because of that. You agree, because when you do that, you grieve the Holy Spirit. Because again, what did Jesus say? Jesus was all about forgiveness. So if you call yourself a Christian, and truly call yourself a Christian, believe you're a Christian, you got to have that forgiveness. I don't care how wrong they did you. Again, Jesus was on the cross after being beaten to the point where you couldn't even recognize him. Being a crown of thorns on his head. You know what I'm saying? Spit on, laughed at, made fun of, and he was still sitting there asking for forgiveness. We have to be able to do that same thing. We can't let our flesh get the best of us and let us harbor all this hatred and this bitterness and this animosity in our heart, and then, you know what I'm saying, and expect to get the blessing from God. And see, when you have it in your heart, another thing you got to understand too, it gives the devil a foothold in your life. It gives a matter of fact, Paul talks about that over in Corinthians. I did a lesson on that a little while ago. He said, you know what I'm saying, Lord, take this hatred out of my heart so I don't get the devil a foothold in my life. And that's what you do when you have that hatred in your heart. It gives the devil a foothold in your life, and it gives him an ability to control your actions. That's why a lot of stuff you see going on. We got the riots and we got these big race wars going on again. And you know what I'm saying? You got the black against white and all this stuff going on, the police force and all this. All that is because of all this pent up anger and frustration that people have been holding in their heart all these years. And that's why we seeing look like our society is starting to crumble, because we got all this animosity against each other instead of just forgiving each other and moving forward toward the future and working with each other for a better future instead of constantly focusing on our past. You see what I'm saying? We gotta let this stuff go. I ain't saying forget about it, but you gotta let this stuff go, because if you don't let it go, it's gonna hold you back. You know what I'm saying? When we got bitterness in your heart to somebody, you got some hatred in your heart to somebody, you got some animosity towards somebody, it's hurting you more than it's hurting them, because most likely they ain't even thinking about you. They ain't thinking about nothing. They ain't thinking about you. They ain't thinking about whatever it is that you meant. They probably even forgot what they did. You know what I'm saying? But you sit over here bitter every day. You know what I'm saying? Just holding a grudge against this person, and you giving that person power over you by doing that. And we got to get away from that. We got to get back to forgiving, just like the Lord say, and get the animosity out of our heart so we can get back to our blessings. All right. So again, that's it. But like I said, mostly it was dealing with the sins of the father. But that just one little part there with that woman, that was just amazing to me, man. And that just really reminded me of the love of a woman, the love of a woman for a child. And that, I mean, like I said, I just think that's true. That's a true picture of godliness. That's about the clearest picture of godliness that we're going to get down here on this earth when we see what she did. She sat on a rock for months. It said the entire harvest season. And again, I'm not a farmer, but that means she sat there for at least 2-3 months, night and day, not sleeping. I don't know. It don't get the details. I don't know if during the day or she took a nap or something and somebody else came in. I don't know. It says she did it. It says she put out a blanket on a rock. She wasn't in no bed. She wasn't in no comfortable chair. She spread out a blanket on the rock, and she for night and day for the entire harvest season, which was months, she kept those animals for touching her babies, because that's how much she loved them. Even in death, she could not let them go, and that's because of the curse of the unconditional love that God gave. But we need that. We need that in our society, and us as men, we need to get back to women, showing women our appreciation for that. We need to let them know how important they are, and the reason why they do that. And women, y'all need to know for yourselves. Even if us men are dropping a ball and we don't let you know, you need to know how important that is, and how much how significant that is for y'all to have that love in order for us to sustain the society. Because once women start losing their love, which they're starting to do, we're doomed. You know what I'm saying? They're starting to do this again. That's why we see so many abortions, because they're losing their love that they have for them babies, and they have to not have any love for them babies, but get rid of them babies. I don't care if it is still in the womb. You know what I'm saying? One woman's natural instinct, because of this curse, because of what God built them, is to protect that baby. And the fact that we're having 3,000 abortions a day shows how far away from God we've gotten, and we got to get back to that. We got to get back to our relationship with God, but more importantly, we got to get back to the appreciation of that motherly love. So I love you, women. Thank y'all for what y'all do, and I'll tell you if nobody else tell you. I thank y'all for what y'all do. It's such a blessing, and it's the women. Y'all make the world go round. Y'all keep us going around. Y'all keep us spinning, and y'all keep us focused. I know my wife does a ton for me. The only reason I have this ministry and I'm able to do what I do for y'all is because what my wife does. And you know what I'm saying? A lot of people ask, like, why did you marry her? That's exactly why I married her, because of her mothering abilities. When we got together, you know what I'm saying, she already had our one son. You know, he was 3 when we got together, and he's 23 now, so I raised him as my own. But she told me from the jump, hey, he comes first. And she didn't only just say it, she showed me that. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to go out and he was sick or something like that, I just knew we weren't going out. It wasn't even arguing about it. And it was her mothering ability that drove me to her. And it's the mothering ability of you women that's going to keep us going forward. And it really can bring us back together, change the hearts of men. So I like, again, thank y'all. I hope y'all had a wonderful Mother's Day yesterday. And I hope y'all enjoyed this lesson. And I'll let you know from the bottom of my heart that I appreciate everything that y'all do for me and my family and this world in general. So that's the lesson, y'all. Like I said, I stayed right at an hour and a half. You know, so I tried to keep about an hour and 15, but I went a little bit over. But it was so important. It was such an amazing story, and I hope y'all saw what I saw in this: the love of what the love of a mother can do to conquer the hearts of men. So that's it. As usual, you know what I'm saying? Just my ending announcements. I hope y'all enjoyed that little lesson. And that was, real sport, that was just amazing to me. And that's why when I was reading, I don't know, and like I said, I hadn't even been reading Samuel this far, but when I was thinking about what I'm going to put together today, that story just popped in my head. And I'm like, man, I got to do this lesson to show the women that you are appreciated. So I do appreciate y'all, and I thank y'all. And again, don't let this world to convince you to have a job, a career over a baby, because it's the most magnificent thing a woman can do is to be a mother. And I think it is because, again, yeah, you can be a CEO, but you were made to be a mother, and nobody can do it like you can. Cause I definitely can't, because kids drive me crazy. So again, thank y'all for joining me tonight. God willing, I will be back next Monday, and I will go ahead and finish up my lesson on obedience. Getting on you disobedient pagans, heathens out there. I will finish that up next Monday, God willing. But I just really want to do this lesson tonight, and I hope y'all enjoyed that. But if there's anything else that anybody want me to talk about in the stories I haven't covered already, please reach out to me, inbox me, email me, and I will work that into my lesson plan. My lesson plan is always flexible. I just like I said, even with this one today, it just came to me, and I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do today instead of what I had planned on doing. So God willing, next Monday at 7, I'll be back doing the last lesson on disobedience. Of course, be sure to continue to share the videos, tell others about it, tag people in it. If there's anybody you think would benefit from these videos, please, y'all, reach out, tag them in it. My stuff is always public. I don't care if somebody bite it or record it for themselves or use it for their own words. I don't care. I just care about the word getting out and this ministry growing so we can bring this word back to God. So continue to do that. I thank y'all. It has been growing. A lot of people have been listening. I know it's because of y'all word of mouth and y'all tagging people and telling people about it. So please continue that up. And I thank you for your efforts. And of course, if you're not 100% sure about your salvation, please reach out to me. That's the most important decision that you'll ever make in your life, choosing to make the Lord your Savior. So if you're not sure about that decision, please reach out to me and let me know. And I'll make time and I'll arrange a time so we can get together and we can talk about it. And hopefully I can share the gospel with you and help you make the decision before it's too late. And if you don't want to talk to me because I talk too much, so to find somebody that understands the Bible and understand the gospel that will share it with you so you can make the decision before it's too late. And of course, always, if I do spiritual counseling, you need any kind of spiritual counseling, something about the Bible you don't quite understand, or you just got questions, or you want to know how to improve your relationship with God, whatever it be. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but God has given me a lot of wisdom that I like to share with others. So if you got any questions or anything of that nature, please reach out to me and let me know. And if you reach out to me and let me know, man, I do what I can. And if I don't know the answer, I promise you I will do the research until I find the answer. And last but not least, as always, if you can go catch all my old sermons, and I'm really behind on downloading my sermons, but I do still got a lot of them on there. But you go to youtube.com, type it in just like this, it'll take you to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Or whatnot, or whatever you want to do, or you just want to go in there and watch from time to time. But all my sermons will be on there eventually. And right now, like I said, I got like 30 on there now. But I still got a lot of them that I need to get downloaded. But if you want to catch my old sermons, you want to get caught up, if there was some series I did that you didn't catch, here you go. You go there, and it'll be easier to find. Then you can also scroll up and down my Facebook page, but I get tagged in so much stuff, man. It takes forever to get to a particular lesson where you go there, you can just go straight through and only catch my videos. So that's it, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that again. This is for you mothers out there in honor of Mother's Day. Maybe when Father's Day come around, I'll do one for fathers. But I don't know. We ain't all that special. Now I'm just playing. We'll see when they get there. But I thank y'all for joining me tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed that. And I pray that the Lord touch your heart. Again, women, I hope you understand how special you are, how important you are to us and to this world, keeping this world spinning. And guys, we got to do a better job of letting them know just truly how special they are and how much we truly do need them and appreciate them. Well, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pray, get out of here. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this lesson tonight. Thank you for putting this lesson on my heart. I thank you for the ones that joined into this lesson, Lord. It was a blessing to have them here tonight, Lord. And I just pray that your Spirit use me tonight to bring this lesson forth to help us get back together, Lord. We're at war. We're in the middle of a spiritual war, but we're also in a men. We have a situation today where men and women, we are at war with each other, and we're not realizing how important it is that we love each other and how much we really do need each other, Lord. Yes, men are built to do certain things, and women are built to do certain things. We're different. You made us that way on purpose, Lord, and we got to realize that we both need each other, and the work that you're giving women to do is just as important as the work that you're giving men to do. We have to see that, Lord, before we destroy ourselves. And if we don't get if we keep going in the direction we're going, before long the human race will be wiped out because men and women hate each other so much. And that's not, I know that's not your original intention when you made Eve to be a keepsake for Adam, Lord. You made her to be at his side. And we got to give, we as men got to get women back to being by our side. And women got to realize the importance of the work that they do. So I just thank you so much for this lesson tonight. Thank you for the ones that was here. Thank you for this day, letting us be safe and giving us the opportunity to go through your word. Now, actually, watch over us as we finish up this night, Lord. Keep us all safe as we prepare to rest up for another day. Just keep your hand upon all your servants. Continue to guide them in the direction they need to go so they can get everything done they need to get done and get everywhere they need to be. And I pray you just continue to watch over me and my family and this ministry. Continue to use us in a mighty way to do this work. Be with River Lake Baptist Church. Thank you for the support that they give me so I can do these ministries, Lord. And I just pray you just continue to watch over it, help it grow and prosper, reach out to the community, change the lives of others, capture the lost souls of men. I pray you be with all your faithful servants, all those that have truly given their heart to serve your purpose, your will. Continue to give them the encouragement, enthusiasm they need to continue to go forth and continue to sharing your gospel with the world to bring this world back to you, Lord. And I pray to just be with this country. Help us to see. This lesson is a perfect example of the night because we saw the love of this mother when her kids were already dead. She was still fighting from them, fighting for them. But yet in our country, we got 3,000 abortions a day, Lord. Help us to see how far away from you we've gotten, and help us to see the importance of getting back to wholeheartedly serving you. And I honestly believe the love of mothers can do that, can change our hearts and bring us back to you, Lord, because it's the closest thing that we get to seeing you down here on this earth. So I pray just be with us, Lord. Help us see. Be with all our officials that make the rules and regulations, that make these things possible, Lord. Help them see the wrongness of what they're doing. Give them the wisdom to make the right decision so we may be able to continue to worship you freely, Lord, and continue to do the things that you have for us to do so we can honor and glorify you, so this famine on our land can be gone, Lord, because I do believe we in the family. It might seem like we have a lot, but in reality, we don't have much with the way things are going, and it's getting worse. So be with us all, Lord. Continue to bless us and guide us all and help us all make it through. Be with all those that are in the military. Keep your hand upon them. Keep them safe and protected while they're out there in the field. Get them the wisdom to make the right decisions, especially when it comes to life and death situations, Lord. And I pray you just keep your hand upon them and their families so they can reunite with each other and be able to honor and praise you because of their ability to do so. And I pray you be with all those that's been misused and abused, Lord. Just continue to give them the courage to keep going forward and give them the comfort them in their affliction and give them the wisdom to accept their way, give them a way out and give them the wisdom to accept their way once it presents itself. And I pray you take the evil out of the hearts of the men and women that commit this abuse, Lord, so we can purify this nation once again and people may continue to honor and glorify you and not have hatred towards you because of what the evil desires of others. Be with all our missionaries, Lord, all our brothers and sisters that have been persecuted for your word. Just give them encouragement to keep going and help them keep the faith no matter how much they go through the fire, Lord. But more importantly, just touch all of our hearts. Humble all of our hearts, open all our eyes so we can see the importance and get back to you, Lord. I pray for the day when the world as a whole we will humble ourselves, pray, seek your face and turn from our wicked ways so you can hear from heaven, forgive our sins and heal our lands. And I pray you continue to send out more workers for the harvest because the harvest is truly plenteous and the workers are few. Be with all those that are lost, Lord. Pray that you would touch. I pray you would touch their heart, bring them in a conviction and give them the wisdom to make the decision, to accept you as Savior before it's too late. And I pray you continue to send your faithful servants out, guide us to where we need to be, down the path we need to go so we can come across those that need to hear your gospel and give us the boldness, the confidence, and the spirit in front of our hearts so we may preach your word with boldness and souls may be saved. Thank you once again for this night. I pray this ministry continue to grow, continue to use me and my family in a right, mighty way, and just I pray you be with us so we may not live for our own selfish desires, but live so we can honor and glorify your holy name. I love you and thank you for all you've done and given, and we say this prayer in one of Son Jesus' name. Amen. And man, so I appreciate y'all. JC, man, I appreciate you joining me tonight, man. I think this is the first time you might have watched before, but it's the first time I've seen you live. So, man, I definitely appreciate you being here. And Miss Rhonda, as always, I thank you for being here, my faithful one. You're always here to keep me entertained. So I'm out in here talking to myself. So I thank y'all. I hope this helped y'all. Again, happy Mother's Day, happy belated Mother's Day because it was yesterday. But I love y'all, you women, man, and y'all just keep doing what y'all doing. Keep us going so we can keep this world spinning. I won't, before I go, I won't be doing the lost sheep. Usually I do the lost sheep listen this Thursday at 7, but I won't be able to do it because we haven't finished in the lost sheep. And it's not my fault. We had like 14 points and we only did like 2 of them because now I got like a big crowd in Lost Sheep and there's a lot of talkers there and it's not just me. So whenever that lesson get finished up, I will present it on here because I want to do it, on their live first before I bring it here because if they watch here, then they might not want to come to the ministry. So whenever that gets finished up, I will get on here, but I won't be there this Thursday, maybe next Thursday, 2 Thursdays from now, I will do that. But that's the only reason why. But until then, man, like I said, hopefully Monday at 7 o'clock, I should be back and we'll be going over the curses of disobedience. But until then, y'all, please continue to watch your back, continue to pray, be safe out there, and know that I love you all. And happy Mother's Day to you mothers. Thank you for all you do. I love you all. Until next time, peace.